Hello, my name is Hudson. I am a sophomore at Oka University, and I am studying abroad in Kansai Gaida University in Japan. And this is my method of keeping everything straight, everything I've done, everything I will do, and hope everything I've done, everything I will do, and hopefully inspire someone else to study abroad. Because I think everyone should do it. I forgot my intro. I think I had a little mini stroke. I'm about to fall asleep. It is currently 11:40 on Thursday night. As of right now, time of recording this, it's also 8:40 in the morning for everybody else that I know. So I'm gonna make this brief. I have about 3 days to go over. That's about it. That's cool. Tuesday, this week Tuesday started off with strong classes. I had my my culinary class, which we didn't actually have anything prepared for, so we got to make our own kind of meals and just see what happens. My group decided to make an udon meal with um, chicken and a whole bunch of vegetables and just like a red wine kind of sauce. It was reduced down and it was quite delightful. And that's all there was to it. The other cool part of that was that we got to share what we made and exchange it for what other people had made as well. So I got to have like fresh made zucchini bread. There were cookies. It was a good day. That's really what made the day. I didn't do anything really exciting afterwards. I did have my other class that day, but it wasn't anything exciting. It was just talking about what we did last time in regards to jellyfish eyes and uh, a kind of forewarning of what's going to come in terms of today, technically, and telling us to get our papers done, which I did. So, again, not super exciting. Wednesday, however, was a little more exciting because we had our review, our final review that I thought was going to happen Monday, but we did two reviews, which was nice because especially considering I have my test tomorrow morning. So what we did is we went over the packet that were supposed to do over the past week and a half, and I did that, and we each had our own opportunity to create sentences, and I have notes that I have over the last semester. Okay, it doesn't look all that impressive in here because there's very little. Although there is this, was that makes you look like a madman. Um, but the homework that I've done on the other hand, on the side, has also been obsessive in quantity. So we had our own kind of conversations. We were going over the study guide itself. That's not it. Where's the other one? This is the study guide that we had. This one? Nope. Inside my magic puzzle box. It is. It is this one. So we had grammar that we were going over, so like particles and stuff, which still tripped me up, which really isn't that bad because so there's wa. This is also helping. This is also helping me study. There's wa. There's no. There's ni. There is mo. There's de. There's te. And then there's ga. Other ones and to. And to. I should mention to. Ga. O. Wa. To. Ni. De. Wa. No. O. Te. Ni. Mo. To. Ga. Eight. There should be eight-ish, I believe. And then all of them have their own sort of rules. There's also technically ni and mo and de and mo, but those are under different rules. De mo is well. There's also, I guess, there's gudai and goro, but those are not really adjective or not really particles. They're more they technically derive. They define kind of abstract time. So if you have CTT, which is 7 o'clock, you can say goro, so around 7 o'clock. Then if you have CTG kan, which is 7 hours, kan is kind of like the additive for time. So you do G and then kan. It's not a particle; it's just a additive um, syllable. And then gurai is another technically a particle because it denotes time is time spent instead of time at. So around 7 hours, about 7 hours, which is chichichi kan gurai, and then around 7 o'clock, shichichi koro. It's confusing, but was also ease. Shi, ji. No, it's chi, ji, like the letter G, and then kan. 7 hours. So there's that. A whole lot of that. A lot of positive, negative, past tense, non-tense, te form. We have because there's mas form which follows past, present, and then past positive and past negative tense. And then there's te form, which is for a whole other 9 yards with the rules. So we got to do that with almost all of our verbs and adjectives. Most of our verbs, yes. To buy, to write, to enter. We don't have a lot of our verbs in here, but there is a good number of them. And then a lot of our adverbs, which is funny because to like and to dislike are technically adverbs because it's the quality. It's thinking of it as the quality of the item. So it's like a liked item or a disliked item. So nouns can be described with verbs in an adjective way, which is funky, I think. And then the last bit was just making sentences, which we did as well in class. So your test tomorrow is written and oral. We're going to be performing an oral exam in between, so we're going to be like, I signed up for tomorrow. I could have signed up for Monday, but I didn't want to, so I had to sleep in on Monday because I'm a winner. And the whole situation is basically just going in, taking the written test, and we'll be called out to perform the oral exam, and then we go back in to finish the written test, which is just sentence structure, sentence writing. And then we also have an oral exam, which is going to be on Wednesday. Wednesday. That's going to be over Zoom, and we have like 5 minutes to just kind of like answer some questions about grammar and particles. So it's an ending unit test as well as cumulative, which is nice. Also on Wednesday, not related to class, we had. I had the opportunity to go to the front desk, and I got a paper that I need to turn in for. I need to turn in to the city hall. I get to go talk to official people in city hall and tell them that I'm moving, which is pretty cool. Not really, just kind of housekeeping stuff. But I also have it situated where I can send my box of stuff home because the post office is going to be coming here the 13th, 15th, and 16th, 14th, 15th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and they're going to help us send stuff, which is super cool of them. And then also tomorrow, I'm going to be going and buying my bus ticket, which is awesome. That means I get to leave. It means I get to go home. I mean, leaving is sad. Leaving's nice, but also sad. But it also means that I get to spend the last of my dollarage here, and I have coins, and I'm really just narrating what I've got on my desk right now. I've got a bottle of Coke. I have a Coke can. I have a telephone. I don't know why I'm narrating this stuff on my desk. But I'm set for tomorrow. Set for my test tomorrow. I was studying earlier today. I wrote again. Did a whole bunch of sentence structure. I just created sentences. I have my own questions like Senshu Matsu nani o shimashita ka? Last weekend, what did you do? Donna tabemono ga kirei desu ka? Kirai desu ka? Which is what kind of food do you dislike? Petto ga imasu ka? Do you have a pet? And then, donna petto ga imasu ka? What kind of pet do you have? I've got this in the bag. In the bag. I'm basically fluent. Not really at all. But I also what I did the past 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, I got to write two whole essays because didn't realize how fast those deadlines were coming up. Truth be told, the essay that I wrote Tuesday could be due on Sunday, so I had more time. I had more time to work over it and kind of just look at it. I'm not going to though because the things that I usually end up writing the first time end up being the better versions of the product because then I end up overthinking it or adding too much or taking away too much, so I end up with too little. So I kind of just turn in the first thing I have, which ends up being pretty decent. I actually really like the things that I have, like the first iteration of most of my written work in terms of both kind of on the side poems and written like homework and stuff. And both of them end up being pretty darn good. And then last night, I got to write the final paper for my Inugami Inugami project, which ended up being, I only added a little bit about sorcerers, but then that bumped me up to the length that I needed, which was perfect. But so that's kind of like the big homework that I've done. Didn't take me that long to do either. Really, I can handle essays. I can handle papers. Those are not that bad. And today I had culinary class again, which was delightful. We got to make a duck kind of. Someone called it a poke bowl, but it really wasn't. It was just soba. It was just kind of soba. I was also given more food. I ate the soba for lunch, and I got to hang out with some of my Japanese friends. We're going to attempt to go to a ramen shop next week or this weekend. I don't know. They're gonna let me know because they know more, and I will defer to the locals. And they're good friends, and they're good people. They're pretty cool, so they would know. Um, Speaking of which, that might have just been. I'm not gonna look at that. Shut up, phone. No one listens to you anyways. Who cares about Samsung? I've sold my soul to Google anyways. I genuinely want to get a Google Pixel. I think they're cool looking. Or one of the Z Flips. Hard choice. Phone that can fold, or just a regular phone from Google. Google tracks us already. Why not just finish it? Whatever. Next step is Google Home. Whatever. Um, I was given a Spanish omelet today, as well as biscuits and gravy. None of those things really correlate together, but they were both delightful. I had the biscuit. It's more like a bread wedge. It was tasty though. It was homemade bread, like in store, in class, homemade bread. Pretty tasty. Um, there was the Spanish omelet was very potatoy. I don't know how that works. I don't know what a Spanish omelet consists of, but it tasted potatoy. You could have said it was an Irish omelet. I would have believed you. Um, and then I also have technically I have leftover gravy because I was just hungry and I just want to eat the bread. But that means I have like a meat sauce to put over the noodles that I made on Tuesday night. I was very hungry and I made all of my noodles. Now they're in my fridge, teaching me a costly lesson in patience. So yeah, but I had lunch, delightful. Went to Starbucks to get a something drink, which tasted delicious. There was like crunchy stuff in it too. I don't know if it was cereal or like hard caramel or someone just punched a graham cracker into my drink. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't terrible. It was pretty good. I do like caramel. And then the last thing I had today which is by far the coolest, aside from making myself lunch and dinner, which was my last monsters class, and I have a quiz on that next Tuesday. But the entire class was just about Pokemon, just Pokemon. That was the whole thing. It was what is it about? How does it kind of relate? Pokemon are they original? Are they hurtful for the kind of like tradition? I actually got to argue at that point. It's actually helpful to tradition, not only because it's not like taking away from anything. Like for the example that was presented was Yukiona, which is a Japanese woman who was killed in a blizzard, and so from then on, she's a vengeful spirit that goes and she finds lost travelers, woodsmen, loggers, and she will kiss them, and then they freeze, or she will touch them in some way. Like the myth ends up being like the kiss of death, but then they just freeze. They're drained of life, and the story goes on as she takes pity on one guy, disguises herself as a young maiden. This guy finds the young maiden. They get married. They have kids, and then her whole shtick was, "Do not tell anybody of this day." And he ends up confessing to his wife, who's Yukiona, about that day, and she said, "Oh, you! How dare you! If only we didn't have those children, I would slay you where you stood." And then she's like, "If you breathe a word of this to anyone, if four of those children are ever sad a day in their life, I'll come back and I'll come for you and I'll murder you or whatever." And then she vanishes into the night. That's her story. There's a Pokemon named Frostlass that looks exactly like her. She's dressed in all white. She's ice and ghost type, so it's fitting. And her Japanese name is Yuki. Well, I mean, cool. Yuki is snow, so it's kind of cheating. But her name is relates her. Everything about her kind of screams, "I'm this character." So then the argument was, is that taking away, or like taking away from the original inspiration, or is that transcending into kind of like a higher, kind of like higher? But is it taking it into modern context, and then people can learn about the past and the traditional story if they're so interested? And that's genuinely what I would have answered as, because I didn't know what an axolotl was until I looked up what the devil mudkip was inspired from. You know that he's inspired from an axolotl? I sure didn't. Does that fin on his head look like an axolotl? No. But that's where he came from. So the logic that would then track, like, okay, you have a frosted, deep, frosted tip ghost. Where'd it come from? Where is this? And it would then kind of translate over. Just like we have, I mean, okay, now there's a couple of reincarnations of what Godzilla kind of looks like, but the kaiju themselves, there's Charizard could be, what's the dragon? Rohan, Rohan. Charizard could be just a dragon, or it could be Rohan. You could have um, Tyrantrar as like Godzilla. You could also have like Brax, Brax. There's a new one in Pokemon Violet and Scarlet that does something that technically Godzilla does in one of the movies. He will. It's a similar kind of scene that Godzilla does, but the argument still stands. So it's not technically stealing from the source material. It's just kind of elevating it to a modern sense. And so why we have remakes of old movies. We have remakes of books into movies. It's taking those pieces of culture and it's putting it into a more modern and more accessible, as well as a kind of flat line of media. Like if you're gonna read something, it takes you might some the average person might not read every word. They might skim. They might kind of miss a word or two or a detail here and there. You might not read it every word for word, but then if they see it in a movie, they can take it in scene by scene that is broken down. There's specific dialogue. There's kind of everything is kind of there. That the highlights, the keynotes, and then remakes of those movies come out, and that could highlight different pieces of dialogue, and it would translate into a more apt experience depending on both the director and then the relationship to the source material and the author. So the end all be all is it would be the source material would then be elevated to more not controversial, but conversational, and it would become more applicable to modern days because now it's not just some old book. Now it's that new movie or that new hit movie by that well-known director. If you have Michael Bay producing Moby Dick, that would be awesome. You know, epic that would be. Moby Dick could be a robot. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can we have Transformers Moby Dick? Or is that just Unicron? You know, just a big monster gonna swallow worlds. I know too much about it for my own good. Regardless, it's you get what I'm saying. It's Pokemon would not be because they take from everything. They took from Greek mythology. They gave us Moltres and Rapidash, which are unicorns and phoenixes. Well, technically unicorns are Celtic, and technically phoenixes are not just Greek. They're Norse and they're pagan and they're I guess Norse and pagans are also can be the same thing because of how they're related and source material. And see, okay, that's my point exactly. Everyone steals from everybody. Does pagan mean anything less than more derivative Celtic, or does Christianity? Well, okay, that's also a bad point. Christianity wipes out a lot of things. Christianity stole Christmas trees. That was pagan. My point. Everyone steals from everybody. Why does Pokemon? It's also kind of dogfighting. So maybe it's not the greatest of examples. And those with the strongest, gods in their pocket can make the rules. Because what are you gonna do to the god of all creation that can eviscerate you in a moment? And that god happens to be walking around with a 12-year-old. Yeah. That was part of the conversation today. Fun stuff. Everyone would throw hands at an instant. Everyone in that classroom would throw hands for their party in an instant. I think it's fantastic. Cynical for the win. I don't have anything else to say. That's I'm kind of running out of steam. Pokemon's fantastic. Discussion's fantastic. Food's fantastic. That was my day, and I got to come back here, do some more studying, listen to some music. Good day. Very good day. But I have to go to bed because I have a test in the morning. So I will leave it here. Thank you so much for watching, listening to me rant about the state of tradition and how it translates into modern media and food and whatever else I did and talked about because I already have short-term memory loss. And I will see you next time. We are counting on the days. It is currently the 8th. I have less than 2 weeks. I have 6 days. Oh my gosh. No, that's not true. That can't be accurate. There's no way that's accurate. Because I still have a whole other week to go through. I have 8 days. No, also incorrect. Next week Monday is when my flight is. 19 minus today, which is the 8th. Yes? 11 days. Yes, 11 days. Because it was 2 weeks from Monday. And it's been 4 days since then. I gotta go to bed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in 2 to 11 business days. Arigato.